everyone, and welcome back to Reaching Out with Reach podcast, where we bring to you discussions and topics surrounding our community, prevention, and recovery for all. Today, we are shining light on another amazing local nonprofit who is doing so much for the community. HopeKids has a vision to restore hope and transform the lives of children and with life-threatening medical conditions, their families, and communities they serve. We have here today with us the Executive Director of HopeKids, Bridget Asheim. And I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. Here to talk about the agency and give us more information on exactly what HopeKids is, does, provides, and all of that. I would also like to introduce our very own Ashley Fairmore, who is one of Reach's prevention specialists and will be leading today's interview with Bridget. Bridget, welcome. We are so glad you have joined us and super excited to learn more about HopeKids and how your involvement in the community is so impactful. Ashley, I'll hand it off to you to get us rocking and rolling.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. Good morning, Bridget. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I am doing well. Thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to be part of our podcast. I feel like this was kind of fate. It fell into our lap when I met your board member at one of the fundraisers a couple weeks ago. And I was excited to learn more about your services. So, of course, I took the opportunity to bring you on so we could learn more about HopeKids. So tell us about your mission at HopeKids.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I agree. I think I love those divine appointments when two people meet and there's a connection and that leads to this happening today. So thank you so much again for having me. But a little bit about HopeKids. We work with families who have a child that's diagnosed with a life-threatening medical condition. And our mission is to restore hope in their lives. And so many of these kids are diagnosed with cancer, diagnosed with sickle cell, heart conditions, rare genetic disorders, and they need something on their calendar outside of the doctor's appointments and hospital stays and treatments. And so that's where HopeKids steps in, and we fill their calendar with lots of hope. And so by fun events, each and every week, there's something to look forward to for them to register and meet other families and have this beautiful opportunity to connect with people going through similar situations.
That's wonderful. Sometimes it's nice to know that there are other people out there going through the same things, and just having that avenue of support is major. And it's wonderful that you guys provide that. How did HopeKids get its start?
So HopeKids started back in actually 2001 with our Arizona chapter. So just with the message of like the power of what hope can do when we're in a dark situation and a challenging situation, just that power of having something to look forward to, what that can do for a child or for a family. And so it started in Arizona, like I said, in 2001. In Minnesota chapter was our next chapter in Minneapolis, St. Paul area. And then North Texas was launched in 2013. And so that's when we came to North Texas. We do have several other chapters around the country: Colorado, Kansas City, and Nashville, Tennessee area. But today, obviously, we're focused on our Texas chapter, and we serve families primarily in the Dallas, Fort Worth Metroplex. And so all of our events that we host are centered around here. But we do have families that live, in Houston or Austin or out of state that drive in for treatment. And so when they're here for treatment or here to visit family, they will attend our events that we hold.
Okay, wonderful. So I know, with North Texas, it's a pretty broad term, North Texas. Like we specifically serve Ellis and Johnson County. So I didn't know if there was a specific service area that you target, or it sounds like it's kind of open to anyone as long as you're willing to, kind of train, what do you call it? Travel.
Yes. Yeah. And that is, most of I guess we're probably focused around, I would say Tarrant, Dallas County, Collin, and Denton would be like our four major counties in this area that we focus on. But really the family, can live, in anywhere in this Metroplex. Or like I said, we had a family once that lived in Lubbock and they would travel here to Dallas Children's for treatment. And so every time they traveled here, and their daughter was actually in the hospital for over a year, right from birth until she was just over a year old. And during that time, we provided this calendar of events, and the husband and wife would attend date nights. And when the siblings came in out of town from Lubbock, they would go to the different events that we host on our calendar. And so it really, they can live, like you said, anywhere, but just our events are primarily focused here in the DFW area. But then it's, also important to note it is for the whole family. So, we are, when a child applies for HopeKids, what gets them into our program is their life-threatening medical condition. And so they go through an application process. We get approval from their doctor that they qualify, and then they are entered into our program. So qualifying is 0 to 18 to qualify for HopeKids. But once they're in HopeKids, we're tied to the whole family. And so it becomes where it's not just about the child who's diagnosed, it's about the brother or sister that, sometimes gets lost in the shuffle during all of the medical treatments and hospital stays. And so we're there for them. So the parents can bring brother or sister just to the event, or the parents can do a date night on their own. We do mom's events, we do dad's events. And so to try and connect with other people. And then once they're part of HopeKids, they're always part of HopeKids. So we have kids in our program that are now cancer free, or have undergone their heart transplant, and they're doing great. And there's not an end date. They are the hope heroes. So they're the hope for the newly diagnosed kids. So we do a lot of connecting with our events. So we might hold an event that's just for cancer kids and families, or just for cystic fibrosis parents, or just for, we did an accessible hike at Lake Ray Roberts, where we just invited those families that had a child in a wheelchair. And so we did a 2-mile accessible hike, and that was purposefully done to expose them to an accessible hike, that hiking is they're able to do that with their child, but then also to connect the families. So they meet other families that, hey, going through it, you're going through it too. Or that event, we had 3 single moms at the event. And so we were able to connect them. And there they were with their kids in their wheelchairs, single moms, laughing and making these connections. And then, like I said, once a HopeKid family, always a HopeKid family. So, unfortunately, there are times where a family does lose their child. And when in that situation, when everything is tied to the child, so the doctors go away, the therapists go away, everything goes away, HopeKid stays. We say, you know what? We're part of your family. And so they're able to stay and bring the brothers and sisters to the events. And be welcome just like they would if they had their child with them. So we do really look at the whole family unit when we're planning and hosting these events each week.
Well, I think that is so amazing, first of all, and wonderful. And you're right. When someone is going through something, whether it's an illness or substance abuse, it's not just that person going through it. It's the whole family that needs support. And, I like what you said about, like, I'm a single mother myself. So sometimes just knowing there are other people like you that are going through the same thing, that can relate, that can help support you, and vice versa. There are so many critical aspects to that, to what you were saying. And I think that's just amazing. And, I like that the services don't stop just because something changes. So you don't lose that connection and that support, because that is absolutely essential.
That's important, because they go through so much loss. And even if, even just loss of a new normal when their child's diagnosed. And so to know that they're not alone, and that there's others going through it, and that can understand. So a lot of, events like our moms events have become really popular. With COVID, we had to shift and pivot and adjust. And so we do some virtual moms book clubs, and the moms have just connected in a way. And they're like, we are finally like connecting with people that truly get it, that truly understand. They understand their frustrations, their anger, their celebrations, and the ups and downs. And so they just really connect and find people to do life with. And that's our hope. It's like we start with, here's this free event that could be like a Dallas Stars game or a Mavericks game or a Rangers game, or it could be something like a mom's book club, or, we've partner, with other AT&T Performing Arts. And so it could be, any one of these types of events that just might be tickets to a theater show, but to look over and to see other people like, wow, there's another child that's, has, just a backpack with their feeding tube in there. And one of my favorite stories to share is, doing a private movie screening. A mom came up to me and one time and said, what I love about the HopeKids movies. And I'm like, oh, tell me, what do you love? And she goes, I love when my child's feeding machine can go off and I don't get an angry glare. I get, is that yours or is that mine? And so they're just surrounded by people who get it. If they're, and that's the beauty. So it starts off like this fun, free event that they wouldn't be able to afford because of medical bills piling in. So they can still choose to have fun with their family and make family memories. And then it just transitions into, it's more than that. It's these beautiful relationships, these ongoing connections that they're able to make as in support system. And two, like another thing, it's not just about the families, it's about those that get involved with HopeKids. Like when Crystal read our mission, just about transforming the lives of families and the communities in which we serve. That's a big part for us at HopeKids. Like we love transforming our community. And what that means is getting people involved with HopeKids, whether as a volunteer, whether as somebody who supports us financially, or a school or a church. Like we have a big Hope Day festival. We're partnering with Central High School in Keller. And the students have planned this big festival for us on Friday. And so we have about 200 HopeKids family members are going to be out there. And there's going to be inflatables. There's going to be petting zoo. There's going to be carnival games and food. But our hope is that those students will be transformed as much as our families by, having that connection and the interaction with the families. So it's truly, not just the families that we're really trying to impact. It is our local, North Texas community, those that get involved with us, those that, start volunteering and coming to the events and handing out the tickets and greeting the families. Like they're getting like that joy and passion, which that we're just as passionate about that. So that's a big, I'm glad that was mentioned as part of our, as the introduction, because that's a huge part for us. It's just transforming our community as well.
Definitely. And that's a huge aspect of it as well, getting the community involved. And that's, a big reason I wanted to invite you on the podcast and get to learn more is just that creating awareness and spreading the message, because I had no clue, any services like this were available. And I'm, fortunate in that way, but I know there are others going through things that need services like this and may not know that they're available in this area. And
that was a cool connection because you met, that was the Midlothian high school students were doing for their Panthers at Work week, their PAW week. They chose HopeKids as a beneficiary, and throughout the week did various activities that would benefit HopeKids. And I think that's really cool to me to see students getting involved. There's another high school, the students were passionate about giving back to their local community and impacting kids right in the Midlothian area that are part of HopeKids that benefit from the events. And so I just loved, and then how that meeting, and you met our board member and now we're here. And I just love that. And that's all because students became passionate and we're doing something. And so, I would love to get more schools and churches and just different groups involved, because there is such power when we get together and do something good for our local community.
Absolutely. So I know you touched on this a little bit, but I was looking on your website and I saw your list of partners, and some of them were pretty cool. I know you mentioned like Stars games and Rangers games and movies. I saw the Alamo Draft House on there and just different organizations you've partnered with. And I bet some of the events are really cool. And I know, like you said, families are able to experience some of these things that they may not otherwise be able to experience due to cost. So tell us about some of the organizations you've teamed up with in the past and some of the things you've done.
Yeah, no, there's, like you said, there's lots of event partners. And it's funny because people will ask me that question all the time. Like, oh, who do you partner with? How many, what do you have coming up this week? And I'm always like, what day is it? Because last year in 2021, we hosted 482 events in 1 year. And so when I say every week, it's literally every single week. So we do have some amazing people in the community that we partner with. You mentioned Alamo Draft House. They have been a huge supporter of HopeKids. With COVID, that has changed a little bit because they're still getting back on their feet, but we would do monthly private movie screenings. We partner with, like I said, shared earlier, AT&T Performing Arts, Buff City Soap, and things like if you take a Buff City Soap, they just open up before it opens to the public, and they donate 10 slots for kids. So we can have 10 to 12 kids that come once a month and can make bath bombs. They do a whole bath bomb making class, and the parents are there. So while the parents are watching, they can connect. They have staff there that are helping the kids make it. So it's a win-win. It's private. We have a lot of families that, were obviously very cautious before COVID, but now are extra cautious after, COVID and kind of the world we're living in now. And so if we're able to do an event that's private, that's a really good top-notch event, because then the families feel safe. They know it's other families there. There's not going to be somebody who's sick. And so those events are awesome. We partner with Cotton Patch Cafe, and this is another simple one. So an event doesn't have to be huge. It could be one family. So they do family dinners, and they take one family each month in different locations and provide a family dinner, which provides connection for that family. We partner with Merlin's Magic Wand, and that's Sea Life in Legoland. And so they're able to donate tickets to us, and we're able to post those events on our calendar, and volunteers are there to greet them and check them in. And so it's, and like I said, different churches, all the major sports teams, we partner with them, and they reach out and generously donate tickets and experiences. And so we have some beautiful partnerships in the Metroplex here. Yeah,
that's really neat. Some, like the soap making, the would you say Buff City?
Yeah.
I just saw the other week, there's a location in Mansfield, and you kind of drove by, and I'm like, what is that for? Honestly, I thought it said soup at the beginning. I thought it was some food place, but it was soap. And I was like, oh, that's really cool.
And they do. I've become a huge Buff City soap fan. I use their laundry soap and their hand soap and all the things. It's so good. And that's the thing, a lot of our families, then they get exposed to different things. We've had rock climbing with Summit Gym, or Switch Life is another group that teaches skateboard lessons that we partner with, but it exposes them to these new things that they didn't realize they had an interest in. And so a lot of the families, they end up oh, I like to skateboard. So their child asks for a skateboard for Christmas, and they develop this new passion, which is cool too. So they get exposed to a lot of things. And then we partner with a lot of companies. And this has been a really beautiful thing too, is getting companies that want to give back. They want the families, they want to have interactions with the families and their team and employees. And so we have companies that host events for us. And so one of our big ones is with Texans Credit Union in Richardson. And they every year do several events for us. And one of the highlights is the Halloween event. And that's where they decorate their cubicles and their hallways. And then the kids come and they trick or treat indoors and are able to just have a safe environment. For the past couple of years, we've held it outside in their parking garage to make it a little bit more safe. But it's just great. They have games, activities, food, and the kids just get to go around. And that's just a company. They plan it, they host it, they invite us, we post it to the families that we serve. And it's just a really great event. And we have several companies all over that partner with us in that way. Or we have those that host picnics for us. We might rent a pavilion at a park, and then just we have yard games and picnic games, and just bring families out. So it's, we can be creative. So if somebody is out there listening, like, oh, what about this? Like, we're all about brainstorming and coming up with new, fun, creative things to just bring hope to the families and those opportunities to connect them.
Yeah, that's really neat. That sounds fun. I didn't really think about the aspect. I know with COVID, we're all a little more safety conscious, health conscious, but having that added factor of, children that already have illnesses and being more at risk than the others. And
it does.
I didn't really think about it.
It adds a whole different element. I mean, and that's why, like, with our calendar, we've definitely become more creative with it and offering different types, because, we want to appeal to all comfort levels. So, for example, coming up, we have like a virtual event, the new Encanto movie that everyone's raving about. If you have kids, you've probably seen it and heard all the songs. Well, Mirabelle is a princess, and she's going to be joining us virtually and doing like a story time and sing along. And so we have families already signed up for that. So we really try to find those virtual things too that we can put on Zoom and, partner with other groups, like princess groups or superhero groups, and different things that we can do virtually to just give those families where if they have to be home, or even before COVID, we had families in the hospital for a long time. Like earlier, I shared the one little girl that was in the hospital for a whole year. Like, had we had virtual events during that, her family could have been logging into the virtual moms chats, or, the kids could be logging into the Princess Zoom. So it really was a need that we had even before COVID. It just wasn't recognized until COVID. So our calendar is full of different things, from Zoom to in-person outside to in-person indoors. We have what we call hybrid events, where we have, we might provide the supplies for an event. Like, we have a bee making, or like a honey making kind of bee event coming up. And so we're going to provide all the supplies. So they come pick them up in the morning. And then later that day, we'll all meet together on Zoom. And we've done that with like making gingerbread houses, where we provide the supplies, and then later on they pick them up, and later on we make them on Zoom together. So there's still that community interaction piece to it. So it's, there's a lot going on. We, like I said, 482 events last year. And we're just under 1,000 families in the North Texas area that we serve. And so they are literally all over DFW, and, still trying to get the word out as well. If there's a family that has a child that would potentially qualify. I always say, if you would qualify, we would love to have you part of HopeKids and part of our family, and just provide hope for your family.
Yeah, definitely. So like you said, there's probably people out there that are going to be listening to this and be inspired by your story and your mission and all the things that you've talked about, or maybe they just want to donate to the cause, or maybe they have a service that they can think of that they can provide for you. So tell me the best way to contact you guys for those people that would like more information or to help out with your mission and your cause.
Awesome. Yeah, I would say the one-stop shop, or the best way, would just be to go to our website. And so it's HopeKids, HopeKids.org, O-R-G. And on there, there's an application that says Become a HopeKid. So if you have a child that could potentially qualify. If you're not sure, we have a really good question and answer on there that might help clarify. And I always say it doesn't hurt to try. I mean, if you don't qualify, that's a good thing then, but if you do qualify, that's also a good thing because you have a huge community of support. So become a Hope Kid. There's a link to get involved. And that would be the various ways to get involved. Volunteering. We do a lot with our volunteers. And we just love our Hope crew. We couldn't do all of those events without our Hope crew. So volunteering, if you're just curious, there's a subscribe button and you just want to get our once a month update. Just to stay curious, that's another option. Donate is obviously always an option as well. And then all of our contact information is on there. So if you, like you said, if you have an idea and you're like, wait, I own a bowling alley or I own a skating rink, or, I have this idea, I'm a photographer and want to do a portrait day or something and just want to brainstorm ideas, if you click contact and then the North Texas chapter, my information's on there. And then there's 3 of us. So our family and community manager and our program manager are both on there as well. So.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us today and tell us more about Hope Kids and the amazing work that you do. I enjoyed hearing and learning so much more about you guys.
Well, thank you for having us.
And before we close out, Bridget, is there anything else that we may not have covered or any upcoming events that Hope Kids may have that you want to share with us?
I would say all of our special events that we have going on as well can be found on our website. So we do a golf tournament in September. Obviously, we're part of North Texas Giving Day. So you could search for us around North Texas Giving Day in September of this year. And then we do a big Hope Walk in October. And it's going to be October 22nd. And this year we're going to do a glow walk. So it'll be in the evening. It's just a 1 mile, all accessible family walk. It's at Cap Smith Park in Watauga. And all of, our families will be invited and their friends and families and just our whole local community is invited. And more information as that's launched will be on our website. So definitely keep that website bookmarked because that's where you're going to find everything that you need.
All right. Well, again, thank you for your time today. I want to say everything that you're doing in the community is very impactful and it's a beautiful thing. And we love to see it. Being that we are very community driven is great that we connected today. Thank you, Ashley, for this connection as well. And thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, remember, life is full of choices. Choose happy, choose healthy.